Hey there, folks. So, last episode we managed to finish off getting the equip weapon function added in. That's going through creating our equip character item base, spawning one of those in, going through, equipping it to the player, and getting initializing it, equipping it to the player. And I did go through and did some reordering of the code that I had written just because I realized, hey, these fail conditions should be right at the top, because if either of those are fail, we do not want to execute any of the other stuff. We're all good there. So this episode, there's a couple of other things I want to go through here. So obviously recalc equipment stat variables and the recalc anim state. So how I want to go about that: we've got these functions, adjust piercing protection, bludgeon protection, things like that. These all call directly through to the stat line. We're going through for that. Well, what we need here is all of this information to be stored in our items. We don't need a weapon to know about cold insulation. We don't care about that. Well, weapon doesn't care about that. So, just like we did last episode when we created a new weapon class, or a new class to represent a weapon, we're going to do the same thing for equipment. So, uClass, class, the fall underscore API, UTFN clothing data. And this is going to be a UTFN item, or child of item data. And as before, this needs to be public. And as before, we need generated body and public. I'm going to copy these things here. So, all right, well, what do we need from this? So let's take a look at, let's close out some of these here. We have piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing. I do want to keep those. Okay. Float, piercing, protection. And I'm just going to copy these. Bludgeoning, protection, slashing, protection. Great, we got those. Member variable. What? Copilot, shut up. Okay, what else do we have? Hot and cold insulation. Okay. Heat insulation, cold, not cloth, cold insulation. All right, so we have this information here. How do I want to go about using that? So let's go back to our character base. Well, in here we have this switch statement. We know that's clothing, 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 clothing. Technically clothing, I'm not sure on the backpack though, because it's not going to add any, well, from behind, off the top right now. I don't want to have this affect character stats. It's going to affect carry weight, but anyways, so, how do we want to do this? So I want to add in a new function. We have equip weapon. Well, we're going to do this here. U function void equip clothing. Now, clothing. I'm going to do the same thing here that we did for the equip weapon, except I'm going to name this one clothing, obviously. And create the definition. All right, so Now we've got that, we want to go through and cast this up to clothing data. As clothing equals cast clothing. Spell correctly, please. All right, so if not is valid as clothing, return to do log error. All right, so I'm going to do what I tried last episode with commenting things before we go about it. So, okay, so as clothing, what we need to do here is apply protection offset, protection values, apply insulation values, adjust carry weight. So apply protection values. What do we need to do there? So remove old values, add new values, and the same thing here for insulation values. So, and that's why I've passed in the slot. So with that, all right, so how do we want to go about doing this? So I'm going to add this in quickly. Return. This is just to explain the code flow, so we're going to log an error. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. So, one thing I am trying to do, you may have noticed the last couple episodes, is to not leave to-dos in for stuff that I can do right now. So, invalid, called with invalid clothing item. Actually, how did I do that in weapon? Called with non-weapon. Called with non-clothing. All right, so what do we want to do here? So we're going to work on apply our protection values. So adjust bludgeon protection, equipped. How to do this? If equipped items dot find slot. So how do we equipped clothing equals cast does that return what we need? Yes, it does. So let's move this comment and clean this up. Okay, so what we have here, we're applying the protection values. What we're doing is we're checking to see, do we already have something in here? Okay, we do. So I'm going to fix this to equip clothing so it's spelled correctly. So it's going to be adjust bludgeon protection, equipped clothing. So in this case, we want it to be a negative, so it's going to be 0 minus equipped clothing. I know we can do, what's this, bludgeon protection. There's other ways. I do it this way for clear, concise, well, not concise, for clear explanation as to what we're doing. So I'm going to now do the same thing. So adjust piercing protection, 0 minus equipped clothing, piercing protection, and then adjust slashing protection, 0 minus equipped clothing, slashing protection. So, okay. Now, what we have here is we're taking the current bludgeoning protection, removing it. Piercing, slashing, great. We have insulation as well. So let's just go through and adjust heat insulation, 0 minus equipped clothing, not 0 to the pointer, 0 minus equipped clothing, heat insulation, adjust cold insulation, 0 minus equipped clothing, cold insulation. Okay, so we have removed old values for both insulation and protection. Now we need to add the new values. Well, we don't need to do that as part of an if statement. What this is to explain we're grabbing what we may have equipped. So if there is something in there and it's a clothing item, we're going to remove all of the values that we already have. Then what we're going to do is call the exact same thing again. So adjust bludgeoning as clothing, bludgeoning protection, rinse and repeat. So adjust piercing as clothing, piercing protection, so on and so forth. So all right, so we have that in. We are, again, I'm repeating myself a lot here. I do apologize, but it also helps me to understand the code I'm writing and make sure I haven't missed anything. So we're equipped clothing. Our slot, our clothing that we're adding. Or casting it up or down, however you want to look at it, to the clothing data struct, or class in this case. If it isn't valid, we're going to log an error. We're going to just drop out. If it is valid, we're going to go through and check, do we currently have something in that slot? If we do, we are going to grab the data from that and we're going to remove it. So get rid of the bludgeoning protection, get rid of the slashing, piercing, heat, cold. Then we're going to take the new item we're equipping and we're going to add that. Okay, so we've added the new value there, we've added the new value there. So, next thing we need to do, adjust carry weight. Well, do we have any information about that? Well, right now, we have, where are you? That is, sorry, I'm item data here. I'm trying to find my collapsed information. So we have name, description, slot, Stack size, character mass, item, effective, max durability. We don't have anything about item weight. So let's sort that out. New property. Float per item weight equals, I'm just going to say 1 by default. And then we're going to add in another function. Virtual float get stack weight const, and this is going to return per item weight times by, do we have that stored here? I believe we do. Max stack. Don't have current stack. Item name, slot, max stack, character mash, consumption effect. Did we add that to the inventory component? Let's have a look. Again, it's been a while since I worked on this. Memory's not great. Slots, content. Go to definition, item current quantity. Okay, so we don't want to add it to there, obviously. So let me get rid of this. We don't need that. So we want to add that to our F inventory item. So float get current stack weight. This is going to be a const. Return item data per item weight times by current quantity. All right. So with that, what do you call them? Oh, yeah, it's going to be, because, yeah, it can't be blueprint callable, because this is a struct, and you can't call struct functions on a struct in a blueprint. So, all right, with that, let's go back to where we were working on that. Adjust carry weight. How do we want to go about doing that? Well, our inventory component. Max slot content decays. We don't have a carry weight. Reason being, never implemented it. So let's work on that. U property, edit defaults only, blueprint read only, float carry weight threshold. So what the whole purpose of this is, that is for things like, okay, do we need to adjust carry weight? Sorry, our movement speed, things like that. So I want a max slot size, but as I mentioned, I also want a max weight capacity that if you go over that weight capacity, it starts to slow you down. So what else do we need? Well, we need current weight. So float current weight, current carry weight equals 0. By default, you want this to be 0 because your assumption is it's empty. All right, well, now we need to add a function. Void recalc carry weight. Doesn't do anything like in the sense of a return. So in here, float t carry weight equals 0. The reason for this, for anyone who hasn't followed through, I like to use the preface character of t if it is a temporary value that I'm not wanting to retain, pass through, anything else like that. So for const auto I, and what do we have that called? That is contents. T carry weight plus equals I get current stack weight. Okay, well, that's great. That's base weight capacity. Okay, and then what we want to do here is current carry weight equals T carry weight. Okay, and then if current carry weight is greater than, I just forgot what we named that variable. Carry weight threshold. Slowing down, if viable. So the reason being for this is inventories may not need, so inventory for say a chest, we don't care about the carry weight, it's got slot size. So how can we actually make this more efficient in that way? Let's add a property. Edit default only. Bool B B has weight restriction equals false. Do I want to default? No, true. Because just if a character, yeah, we don't want to miss this on a character, and it doesn't matter if we have a weight restriction on a chest. So reason for that, if B has a weight restriction, if it's not, we just want to return. Now, the reason why I'm going through here and I'm not setting carry weight, current carry weight to 0 and just adding that is error handling. Sorry, I'm distracted by my kid. Obviously, I have done very little throughout the series when it comes to error handling. I do that on purpose. It's a personal choice. The reason being is I like to not have error handling so that I can run through, test in the code, all of that fun stuff, and then if an error happens, it actually throws the error, I can see it, and then fix it. So we'll say, for example, we have a bad reference in here. What I would do then is try catch and then finally something like that. Now, I'm not doing that right now because I want to see these errors as they happen. I want to see the exceptions. I want to have to add the error handling for that while I'm going through. And that's the whole purpose there. If this fails, I don't want to affect the current carry weight per se. It's really hard to explain. So in here, obviously, it has weight restrictions. If this is false, we don't care about any of this. Okay, so current carry weight equals 0, or T carry weight equals 0. We're adjusting that. Well, going through, it's down here. We added in is equipped. So, okay. How do we address that? What are we going to use with this? So back in our item data, we have here a new variable we need to add. So float equipped weight offset. Not offset, multiplier. Now what this is going to do is, we'll say, for example, you have a leather jacket that has a default weight of 10. When you equip it, you want it to have a weight of, an effective weight of, say, 5. You half it. Well, what you would do here is this would be 0.5. You want it to be half the weight. So now there is U property attributes you can add to clamp these. Not adding those right now. Those are things to, if you know definitively 100%, like you want it to have a minimum weight offset of 0.1%, or sorry, 0.1, so 10%, or if you want it to have a minimum of 50%, 0.5, you can add those in. I don't know what I want those to be yet. I still need to tweak. I don't want to hard code those limitations yet. So, how do we use this now? Well, let's go back here. So how do I want it to do this? So I dot is a b is I dot is a item data dot so if it is equipped, we want to do times I item data and I just added that and I forgot it. There, equipped weight multiplier. Else we just want to use current stack weight. Copy U, put U, build, cancel, close out. Okay, so with this, to explain what I have done, and actually we don't need all of these. So we're saying if this item is equipped, we want to get its stack weight times its equipped weight multiplier. Stack weight should always be 1. Or sorry, stack size should always be 1 for an equipable item. But we're still going to call get current stack weight. If this value is 1, then we're going to just be using this. Doesn't matter. If it's not equipped, we're going to use its full stack weight. All right. So we have that in. What are we going to do here? Slow down character if viable. So if what do we have in our header for this? Well, we're getting close to the 30-minute mark here, so check if it's a character. If so, get stat line set, or tell them overweight. All right, so I'm gonna, because this is now going to involve some work on the Statline component, I'm going to leave this episode off at this point. We're hitting the 30-minute marks, but I wanted to add this information in so it's there for when we come around to the next episode. So just quickly to run through that though. So we're checking, okay, slow down character if viable. So we're checking if it is a character. Well, what does this involve? We're going to have to grab the owning character, check if it's a TF character, and then if it is, apply from that. If so, we're going to get the stat line. We're going to tell the stat line the character is overweight by a threshold. So this will be like current weight, current carry weight, divided by carry weight threshold. So this will basically be, okay, at any point, this is going to be a value of greater than 1. The reason being, well, sorry, this will be a value of greater than 1. And ultimately, my goal is basically, it's going to be, you can go up to about double your carry weight. So if you can carry 100 pounds, 200 pounds, you're going to be real freaking slow. But anyways, so we're going to address that all in the next episode. But as always, folks, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Or you can hop over onto the Discord server. Links in the description and in the channel's about info. I do answer questions on Discord quicker, just simply because I get Discord notifications a lot better than I do YouTube. But as always, folks, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.